Hey YouTube, it is, let me see here, August 17th, 2013. It's about 6:15 in the morning. I meant to post a video a while back, and life got a little crazy. I started going back to work after 2 weeks of being off after my hysterectomy. The third week, I went back to work. So I had my surgery on June 28th, and then it was a Friday, and so yeah, it kind of worked out nicely because 2 Fridays later I got to go back to work that following Monday. So I was getting a little stir crazy and wasn't really sure what to do with myself, and so it was nice to be able to have something to go to that wasn't really intense, but I could still, feel like I was getting enough rest and that I was still recovering. I didn't realize exactly how much even going to work, though, takes out of your body. Like, I don't work a very physical job. I work at a desk. I do research, and or I'm on a research team. I don't actually do the research. And, I was exhausted. I'd come home and I was just totally beat. So, ironically, too, then they asked me if, until I go back to school, if I'd want to work full-time, and I, of course, accepted this because who doesn't need a little extra money? And so I started working full-time pretty much that following week. So 3 weeks post-op, I started working full-time. I am now 7 weeks post-op, and I have since had only one post-op appointment. I had that just outside of 2 weeks, right after I had posted my last video, basically. I had a post-op appointment. She said things were looking good. I was still having a lot of bleeding, and I was kind of bummed because I actually initially didn't have any bleeding. I had very, very minimal bleeding when I first got out of surgery, even when I got home for about the first couple weeks. And then when I started really moving around, I started getting kind of active again. I started to notice more bleeding. And I told her about that. She said it was fine as long as it wasn't, I think the general rule of thumb, which is uncomfortable, but it's just kind of good to know. She told me as long as it's not soaking through one pad in an hour, and it definitely wasn't even that much. I wasn't wearing a pad at all. I would just notice it usually if I went to the bathroom. So not a big deal, but I was just a little concerned because I was moving around a lot more. I was going to work, I was driving, so I just wanted to make sure everything was good. I am actually scheduled at the end of this month, I believe on like the 29th, to have I guess it's like an 8-week post-op appointment. So she'll kind of give me the clear then either to go back and start, going to the gym and running. She did, however, give me the clear to go and start swimming. So I actually did that yesterday, which felt really nice to kind of move around. I've been itching to kind of go back and do that, and she gave me the okay. So that was awesome. I have started finally putting on some scar gel on my scars and my incisions. It took them a little while to heal. My body doesn't really particularly like the dissolvable in stitches. It kind of spits them out. So I was having a lot of problems with my body basically pushing the stitching out of the incision, and it was getting caught. And I was constantly having to cut them off. And so they finally all like closed up, which I think probably made it take a little bit longer just because the stitches weren't actually doing their job. They were just being spit out of my body. But they're still really, actually, funny enough, they're really dark. I noticed that when I had my top surgery, the incisions weren't that dark. They were a little bit more red, kind of bright, and these are really dark, and I don't know if it has to do with how they make the incision, which I believe is it's almost like cauterizing and cutting at the same time. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see okay. So I have the one scar here, and you can see they're pretty dark. They actually even look, I think, a little darker on the screen. And then I have this one right here. And then I have the two right here. And actually these little marks are, I have a friend who's a nurse, and she told me, because this one actually was really, really wide. She had told me to use like the, like butterfly closures or any kind of closure strip. And so I was using it to kind of hold them together, and it actually did really help. It brought the incision together, and then It was a nice small line and it started to heal that way, but I had an allergic reaction to the adhesive on the strip, so now I have those little marks. But they should fade over time, which is fine. I have to say I haven't noticed in terms of changes, many changes. I did think for a while my voice had gotten slightly deeper, and I don't know if that's all in my head, obviously because I hear myself talk every day, but I have noticed, I think because a lot of the things that they told me, I guess, that were going to happen because of the hysterectomy didn't happen, and I think it's because of the fact that I take a shot, or I do my shot every week. And so, unlike most traditional patients having a hysterectomy, I'm already supplementing my body with hormones, and so I didn't go through menopause. I didn't have any menopause symptoms. I had already had hot flashes when I started testosterone 4 years ago, so I didn't have that problem again. And my doctor even asked my 2-week appointment, and I said, I haven't had any. I still haven't had any. I actually feel really great. I feel the same as I did before, minus all the pain and complications I was having. And so it's really nice to know that, that really was the source of a lot of the problems I was having. Medically, it was with, I guess, my uterus. I mean, it's kind of funny to say. I have, in other things, been preparing for my wedding still. I have about 2.5 months left, closer to 3, before I get married. So we are frantically trying to scramble together the last of the things we need. We are doing a lot of our own decorations. We are creating our invitation, printing a lot of our own stuff, trying to do it as much of it at home as we can because it's a lot cheaper that way. And I actually really enjoy it. I think it's kind of fun. It's just a lot to do. So now it's kind of getting down to the wire of we were doing it kind of intermittently, and now it's pretty consistently that we have to do something wedding related at least every day in order for us to finish on time, right? But we did pick up our marriage license. It's good for 90 days, and the reason we did it so early is because my partner goes back to school. I go back to school starting next week on the 26th, and I will be working and going to school, and she's actually working in a school district that starts next week on Monday. So it would be really hard for us to get down to the county registrar's office once things kind of get rolling. And because our wedding's in November, there's not a really good break in there. So we just decided to pick it up, and it's good through our wedding anyway, so why not just have the paperwork on hand. But yeah, I will definitely keep trying to post intermittently. I say intermittently. I've always made these promises to post, and I'm really shitty about keeping up with them. But my life is and not that everybody else's life isn't hectic, but I just seem to find it hard to post videos between work and school and planning my wedding. But I will definitely try to post again when I have my hopefully final, I'm not even sure, when I have my next appointment with my doctor, which is on the 29th. So I will try and post in there at that point. I will have started school, and obviously I will keep posting about other random stuff. I don't have a huge following, but for people that do watch these videos, I appreciate it greatly. If you have questions or things you'd like me to talk about, I am very open to taking topics or questions or answering things you have through a video. It could be questions other people are having as well. Anything, really. So if you have questions, if there are things you want to know specifically about my transition that I haven't put in a video because my videos have been a little bit inconsistent, let me know, and I will totally throw it up there. I'm more than happy to do that. But yeah, so I hope everybody has a good weekend. Sorry this video is really long. I usually try and make them quicker, but I thought instead of making 2 separate videos, I would just throw a little bit of a life update, which right now is my wedding, and work and stuff, in with this hysterectomy video. Oh, and I will throw it out there. I forgot to say it earlier, but in case you're looking and you live in the Southern California area, and I don't know her availability. I know she's a really heavily booked surgeon. I definitely think I couldn't have found somebody better in this area that fit all the requirements that I wanted. I wanted somebody who was obviously trans friendly. I wasn't just another number or patient or money for them. I wanted somebody local to me because I just didn't feel like I'd want to have to drive home or be driven home. And she's right in the city where I live in. And her staff was very friendly. The hospital I went to is very great. So yeah, her name's Dr. Alison Tate. She's here in Pasadena, California, out of Pasadena Urogynecology. I can put her information down in the little description box. Oh, that's what I forgot to say too. I managed to get my most of my hysterectomy covered by my insurance. The downside was that I had to work with my HR department to temporarily switch my insurance back to female in order to get it covered. It wasn't ideal, and I had to basically out myself to my insurance or to my human resources department, but I got it covered. I wouldn't have been able to pay for it otherwise. So that's all. I will definitely update more. If you have questions, feel free, leave a comment, send me a message. All right, have a good weekend.